All right, what is going on, people? You know that sound. The Unfiltered Band means another episode of Unfiltered coming right at you your way here right now. Officially, this will go down as episode 167, calling this UFC The Aftermath. You can get us here. Do the math. You plus one plus you and me equals Unfiltered Revolution. Jump on board. Thank you, Unfiltered Band. By getting in on Twitter at Casey Stern, get in the bio, jump on and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get in, like the videos, watch and listen to the content and all that good stuff, and jump on board. Of course, welcome to where most of you are, and equal opportunists are we, and those are the folks who are listening on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere where you get your podcasts. Thank you for being on board. Baseball season officially underway. Spring training, pitchers and catchers. I'm seeing all the videos. I'm loving all the videos. We'll have more pods on that coming out here in the next few days. Meanwhile, NBA season. Got some news on a new NBA show I'm doing. That to come here in the next few days. And we'll delve back into some hockey. In addition to pop culture, in addition to life, in addition to everything else you got. And if you're on the YouTube channel, you realize we got a lot. We got family, we got dogs, we got motivational videos and tips and experiences and learning lessons, and sharing is caring, and all sorts of other craziness. So get involved and get there at Casey Stern, the Twitter, jump in the bio, get on the YouTube channel, and do it now. Thank you to all of you who are listening and subscribe and are with us, and appreciate you. And I gotta do an ep kind of looking forward after looking back after what was just a crazy bananas nuts UFC 284 finish in the main event. Before we get finished, let's get started. As always, you know, we get started one way. That's with our good friends at BetOnline and betonline.ag, where the game starts. BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. Everything from pro, college basketball, UFC, MMA, and more. You always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, game trends at BetOnline with their live betting options, free contests, live scores, almost any sport or game imaginable. BetOnline truly is, people, the fastest, easiest way to bet all your favorite sports, leagues, events. Head over to the website today. Use your mobile device to join. Receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. Receive your rewards at betonline.ag, betonline.ag. Where the game starts, we get started here. And here we go indeed. UFC 284 was bananas. That main event was everything and anything that we got. And I already broke that down in videos you can get and subscribe on my YouTube. So I'm not going to go through every step of the fight. This is a little bit about the aftermath, looking back and moving forward. Here are the parts I want to delve into, all right? When I watched it live, let's be fair, first of all. I was rooting for Volk. Not because I don't respect what Islam could do, not because I don't like him as a fighter, but I'll be fair. You know, most of my favorites that are at lightweight, not named Islam. A big Poirier guy, Islam in his way. I'm a Benny guy, and Dariush, Islam in his way. So, you know, it is what it is. But I'm a big Volk fan. As somebody himself who is always resigned to kind of be with anybody who's short, an underdog, underappreciated, disrespected, I'm in all that. So I'm a big Volk fan. Plus, the dude is he just legit in every way you can in terms of being a fighter, a heart, the will, the skill, all that. Pound for pound, baby, pound for pound. So I'm rooting for Volk in that fight, but I'm also going to be legit and down the middle with you and tell you. I watched the fight live. I thought Islam won round 1. I thought he won round 2. I thought he won round 4. I thought Volk won round 3, and then the most convincing round in the fight, which was round 5, and finished on top in round 5, and looked like he could have fought around 6 and 7. And when you take into account Islam, who was down for the count in 5, and in 4, spent time really hugging Volk the whole time, just trying to rest up, and clearly it didn't matter, because in 5 he was battered and beaten. He looked like the beaten fighter. The damage, which is always the thing that we look at now with the criteria, right, with the judging, was all seemingly on the face of Volk. That thing goes round 6 and 7. Forget it. He out. After the first 3 rounds, he tired, but he won 2 of the first 3. Maybe even tired after the first 2 rounds. He won those both. Looked good on the feet. You know, stunned Volk a couple of times, had him down on a knee, had him stunned. Did real good with that left hand, look confident, and to me, look better on the feet. I don't think Islam is, and you can get on me at Casey Sir, I don't think Islam is near the fighter Khabib was. I don't think he's near the dude Khabib was. I don't. I think he's nearly as dominant. I think he's nearly as torturous as an opponent to deal with. Watching what Khabib did to the guys like Dustin Poirier and Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje, forget it. And Conor, when Conor was Conor, even maybe a little bit belated, past his prime, but certainly not now, right? What he would do in the dudes, Islam no way could have done that to him. If Khabib in his prime would have faced Islam in his prime, Islam would have got smoked. Sorry. Dude would have gotten shoved out of that cage, down on the ground, and submitted. End of story. Made to look like a little boy compared to Khabib. But at the end of the day, Islam a dude. Do I think he's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world? I do not. I do not. I don't think he beat enough guys. There's too many Bobby Greens who look competitive fighters. Sorry. But the Charles fight was unbelievably impressive. That, to me, vaults him in there. Am I putting him again ahead of Kamaru Usman or Leon Edwards? No. Am I putting him ahead of Izzy? No. Am I putting him ahead of Volk before or after that fight? No. John Jones goes and beats Cyril Gane. Should he be ahead of him? Yes. I'm that dude. At me. It's okay. You can think I'm a hater. I'm not. Now, I think he's 3 or 4. I didn't say he's 10, but I don't think he's 1. And I don't think in that fight he proved he's 1. He's a bigger guy. He's a heavier guy. It's in his weight class. He should win. And to me, he got outclassed in terms of the fight. When you talk about how stylistically these guys match up and you take the size out, right? Do you think he's better on the feet than Volkanovski? No. As great as he is on the ground, did at any point Volk even look in danger? Volk was more in danger in that Ortega fight with that choke than he ever sniffed in this fight with Islam. Them be facts. Sorry. Them be facts, right? So, no, I don't think so. I think he's in trouble on the ground in this fight. He a better wrestler than Volk? Sure, he is. Did it look like it was that much of a factor? No. He got more heart, more cardio? No. Now, again, that doesn't mean he's terrible. Doesn't mean he's not the champ. And I think he won the fight. And I got news for you. I watched back the fight yesterday, and I again thought he won the fight. And I watched it back after hearing Volk talk to Ariel, after hearing Volk's comments, after hearing all the Dan Hooker stuff about the IVs. I watched it after all that. Everything in my head could have taken me the other way. And I still think that Islam won the fight 48-47. I still think even though the round was close in round 2 that he won it. And even though I don't think he did nearly enough damage, and he kind of humped him in round 4, when he got all that back control and that takedown was nasty, whether it was because Volk made a mistake talking to his corner and talking too much shit or not. I mean, that was a nasty takedown, and he had back control for like 3 minutes. There's no way he'd given up that round. So I think he won the fight. But do I think he won it convincing enough to say he's pound for pound? No. Do I think he won it convincing enough to move on? No. I think Volk made a great point yesterday when he said in that interview with Ariel Helwani where he's talking about the fact that, hey, look, this is exactly what happened to me, and it happened to him in that second fight against Max Holloway, where a lot of people thought Holloway won, and if he didn't win, they certainly didn't think it was enough to not run it back. It wasn't enough to put that statement and to put that respect on Volk's name to go eliminate Max, who one of the greatest featherweights of all time. Wasn't enough. He didn't do that justice. Well, guess what? Islam didn't do that justice either. Guess what? Islam didn't do that job either. Islam didn't state that claim either. Now, Islam could sit there on that bus in Perth, look like he's out with his friends still there, hanging out in his team, making jokes, and they posted a video yesterday. He can do all he wants, and I'm telling you, what I think is going to happen. I don't think there's any chance he's going to fight, anything chance. I don't think he's going to fight Volkanovski again now. I think if he fights Volkanovski, it'll be after he beats either Dariush or Oliveira and Poirier and Conor McGregor or Chandler. I think it'll be 3 more fights before he comes back and fights Volk. I think Volk will have to beat Yair, and then Arnold Allen if he beats Holloway. If Holloway beats Allen, maybe then this shortens things. You're not going to fight Max for a 4th time. I actually, by the way, think there's some fights now that, to me, open up at lightweight, don't you? For Volk that are massive fights. Now, Volk, I understand about the belt, but he also about the pound for pound. You telling me, and by the way, it wouldn't be trash talk. They're both tremendous dudes. I bet they have a ton of respect for each other, even though I don't know that I've seen them interact. You want to tell me Volkanovski against Dustin Poirier is not a fight? Holy crap. Those two standing, giving each other. I mean, Dustin's fought at 45 before. Volk can go up to 155. I don't care if it's a catchweight fight, not for a title. You don't think that can main event in Vegas? Give me all that. Now look, McGregor can't get down that low again. He can't. But Chandler could fight at 155. He beats McGregor. How about him against Volk? There are Volk fights everywhere. Him Oliveira would be fun. Give me all that, right? All that. But, and look, I like the Ilya Topuria fight maybe in the future at 45. But to me, Volk he seems to be more into it. It came down to being about champ. But I think he's more into fighting at lightweight than we think. This is a guy who fought in rugby at 200 pounds, all right? He's a big dude. He was 190, I think he was walking around just a week before the fight. Said he was in the cage at about 170. He thought Islam was about 178. Now, I don't know if that's because of the IV, the IV, not the poison ivy, the IV. I don't know if it's because of the way he was hydrating, which, by the way, could be cause of suspension. Dan Hooker calling him, a cheat. I don't know why Dan Hooker coming out like that, but maybe. When you talk about July and you talk about fight week, all right? When you talk about July and you talk about fight week and the importance of that international fight week to the UFC, you tell me they're a better fight right now than putting these two back together. Let Dariush and look, and I hate it for Benny. He shouldn't have to fight Charles Oliveira for this main event spot. He shouldn't. I think he'll beat Charles, but he shouldn't have to. He shouldn't. I think Charles can be in trouble. I think he'll lose 2 fights in a row. And I think he knows Dariush is dangerous. I think that's why he wanted to go run it back with Islam. But I think Charles can be in trouble. Now, I don't know what happens to Poirier, because if Charles fights Benny in May, let's say, right, which that fight hasn't been announced. If they fight in May, I think you let Volk and either Yair or Volk against Islam fight in July at International Fight Week. Now, what you could do is you could put them both on the same card, which to me would build some drama also. Now, I understand all the Beneil Dariush people, and I understand all the Benny guys that think he deserves it. And you can make a case maybe he deserves it over Dustin Poirier right now. But Dustin Poirier, a bigger star, a bigger name, and he coming off a couple of wins against Conor McGregor. I get the fact one was with injury. And he beat Michael Chandler, the guy who's not to face McGregor, after one of the best rounds we saw all year in that round 1 of that fight. And he's still waiting and hanging out there. I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't think Volk's getting his rematch yet. I think they want to let fights play out. So I'm going to guess, total guess, right? Because right now it looks like, look, this is just me saying this. Right now it looks like Dustin Poirier's got nobody to fight. It looks like, maybe if he could fight, he doesn't want to fight Beneil Dariush, right? So maybe if Volk was to fight Islam again, maybe he fights Oliveira for a second time, tries to get that win back if Charles beats Benny, and they don't give Islam right to Charles right away because they don't want to run it back so quick, and they let Poirier see if he could beat Charles to go earn it even more, or maybe Charles goes ahead and beats Poirier, and then I don't know. But right now, what it looks like to me, Dustin Poirier don't have a fight. It looks like Dariush and Oliveira are going to happen in May. And I think Volk needs to run with Yair, or he's going to run back with Islam. The problem is if he runs back with Islam in July, right, you're holding up both of these different, places. Now, what you could do is if Arnold Allen wins in April and he's willing to turn right around, you could book on the same card. Yeah, I like when they make International Fight Week. Like, I want it to be like UFC 200. Like, I want a mega massive card. The UFC is building unbelievable steam here in 2023, okay? Unreal. You got the match we just saw. You've got even like the fight nights and the off Saturdays. You got Davishvili, in that fight against Pierre Yan. You've got Chito Vera and Sanhagen. And then, of course, you got Leon and Kamaru Usman. You got Pereira in that matchup again against Izzy. You got to be kidding me. You got all kinds of big bouts and matchups that are coming, right? Big bouts and matchups that are coming. I think absolutely, without doubt, shadow of doubt, right now, you could book a huge July and do it this way. You book 2 fights where you've got, and that way you could let the fights play out. Because look, what if Dariush beats Oliveira? And I understand that Benny's going to think that's an immediate title shot. But what if it doesn't look? What if it's not a fun fight? Or what if Oliveira wins and nobody wants to see him necessarily? It's not, because with Dariush, you kind of feel like, okay, maybe guarantee for Islam or whoever got the lightweight belt, but maybe not if in the other case. But why not book Islam against Dustin? Let Poirier get another shot at the title. He already fought Khabib. Do that in July, fight week. On the same card, book Volk against Yair and see how they play out. And if they both win, let them fight each other again. Don't wait a year. Don't wait a year. By the way, if they both lose, they could fight each other again. Also, I don't know that would happen, but they could. But I might set them up on the same card, make them sit there at the press conferences with each other, build all that. Can you focus on the guy in front of you when you know the other guy is looming? When you know if Islam you got kind of exposed? You know if your Volk you feel like you got robbed, even though I wouldn't call it a robbery? Can you focus? Because Volk don't focus on Yair, you're not going to beat him. Islam don't focus on Dustin Poirier, you're going to get his block knocked off. You get 2 5-round battles for the titles with those two, and then if they beat each other, and you're not, then you allow yourself to not be stuck with Beneil Dariush as a main event against Islam with no talk, no lead up, no hubbub. And that to me going to be a co-main event to something bigger. That's a co-main event in September to Chandler and McGregor. I mean, honestly, sorry, that's just what that is. But not if these two can get on the same card International Fight Week. You give me Poirier against Islam, you give me Volk against Zaire, and they both win, they fight each other again. And then you do that on the McGregor-Chandler card. And you book Khabib's boy on the same card as McGregor. Then you're talking. Now you got bananas. So, again, tell your friends, tell your family, tell the UFC, someone. This is how I'm booking it. July, International Fight Week. And by the way, I'll be stunned if any of this actually happens. But July, International Fight Week, Poirier, challenges for the title. He's got nobody to fight right now. You do Beneil and you do Charles in May. You don't guarantee anybody anything because you don't want to guarantee that spot when you know yourself you may put Volk back in there if he wins, especially if Islam and Volk both win convincingly. But you give me Poirier, and in that title fight against Islam, you give me Volk and Yair on the same card. And if they both win, they fight each other on the same card as McGregor and Chandler. Because then guess what? Now you got gold, Jerry. Gold. It doesn't matter what happens. You can have Khabib's boy against Conor for the title. I mean, you got great matchups there, by the way. By the way, the two losers, Volk Chandler, would be amazing if they both lost that fight. I don't care what weight that's at. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. Give me you and us and back on board. We'll get into some more baseball next time around. I want to hear your thoughts on the UFC. Do you like the matchups? At Casey Stern on Twitter. Get in the bio. Get on the YouTube channel. All of you are listening, Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcast. Much love to all of you. I hope you guys have a great and blessed rest of the week. You are listening or watching or both. Unfiltered, presented as always by BetOnline.